Welcome to Equal Entertainment. I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist. Kathleen Tesaro's book, Rare Objects, centers around a young woman hoping to reclaim her sense of self while working at an antique store. The top-selling novel is getting the film adaptation treatment. Katie Holmes is in the director's chair and in front of the camera for the film version. It features an extremely talented cast and has relatable themes of self-discovery, trauma, and beginning anew. I had the pleasure of speaking with Katie along with stars Julia Mayorga, Alan Cumming, and Derek Luke about how the film dives into mental health, celebrating joy, and more.
Hi. Well, first, I just want to say congratulations on the film. It's incredibly moving and lovely. And I want to begin with you, Katie. I will go to you first and ask you about, it's really timely in terms, I think, of mental health, because especially after the pandemic, so many people are kind of coming to terms with where they are at with mental health. And would you talk about kind of shining a light on that with this film?
I think the passion behind this film, I read this book in 2016, I think it was, or 2017. And what really felt relevant to me was the theme of the friendship between Diana and Benita and how they meet, in a place of both of them are suffering and vulnerable and feeling mutually alone. And they meet up again and they really help each other through their sense of joy that they experience together, and their sense of comfort. And Diana's purpose in Benita's life is really to be a person to try to get her to heal a bit more from the trauma that she's gone through. And the movie really does center around Benita's journey and her relationships and how she really is so strong and continues to fight the good fight and show up. At the end of the movie, she shows up again, and she allows Winshaw and Kessler to embrace her. Yeah. And she allows for that, and she's ready, and she's going to go back to work. And I think that that's powerful. And I feel like that was what was important for me to show. Also the metaphor of the teacup, the broken teacup, and
yes.
and just showing that it's okay to go through things and to be gentle with yourself and actually value yourself more for having gone through something. I think that was something that was important for me to put out there. As a woman.
Sure. Well, thank you very much. And Julia, I wonder if you would kind of go into a lot of what Katie touched on, because I did have questions about this beautiful friendship that forms between your characters, and then also this very central notion of someone being broken and being more beautiful for those fissures that are healed. And I wonder, would you talk a little bit about how that resonated for you playing this character?
Yeah, I think they're, they're different, but at the same time, they relate to each other. I think they're both going through tough times, and they meet each other at a unique time. But I think leaning on friendship, leaning on love, leaning on experiences, I think, just the presence of being there, just having fun maybe is what they need. Maybe, it doesn't necessarily have to be a talk. It can be any moment that you have someone there, I think is very important. But they do learn from each other, and each one can take from one another. You see in their relationship how open they are. Mm-hmm. You see in their relationship how they can have fun, how they can get through life together. And I think that's very, very important for Benita, especially during this time that she's learning that there is another side. And I think also for Diana, that there is a different world outside of what she's living,
I want to begin and to you, Luke, and ask you to touch a little bit on this kind of speech that you give about joy, and because I think so many people are needing that. And would you talk about the role of joy in this film?
Oh, boy. I was in my affirmations this morning. Boy, no, seriously.
I believe you.
I was having to, I was getting my little shave, and
You missed a bit.
yeah, he missed it. But it's interesting because this barber and my brother, they walked in, and I could feel like this energy, like it was kind of heavy. And sort of, we just sort of did a kind of a prayer affirmation, and it was about remembering joy and how to rejoice. And rejoice meaning to refuel, and don't focus on yesterday or tomorrow, but let's just live in the present. So to me, what stands out about that joy is, you know, in life, remembering that joy is a tool, and that we can use it. And that if we, you know, if we focus on joy, then joy will focus on us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's big. Thank you. Thank you. And then,
Right.
Alan, one of the kind of moments that you have in this film is the discussion about, you know, fine, you know, antiques, and how sometimes they're more beautiful or more valuable for having been broken. And would you talk about how that shows up in this film in many of the characters?
Yes, well, I think it's, you know, that's the sort of, I guess, the overriding metaphor of the film. But individually, so many of the characters we discover have maybe past trauma or are broken in some way, have dealt with grief. And I just think it's a really positive message to put out that, you know, sadly, Katie's character, it doesn't go as well for her as it does for others, but to put out the message that you will become a better person when all the pieces are put back together is sort of a great thing for us, especially now in our history when we've all been a bit broken by COVID and the after effects of that.
Yeah.
And just, you know, just living in this world right now, it's the constant bombardment of things that are trying to break us. So to sort of say that you will ultimately be more valuable because you've gone through that and you've put yourself back together again, I think it's a really positive thing.
Yeah, wonderful.
Maybe respect Humpty Dumpty a lot.
You're right. Humpty Dumpty had it going on.
I'm sorry. I'm just...
No, it's perfect. And I wonder, because she was so integral to getting this film made, and, you know, writing and directing and acting in it, would you each comment a little bit on working with Katie and what that was like as a director?
It was perfect timing. My wife and I, you know, over the years, we've been just like producing and taking our time with it. And we just sort of had a vision retreat on like, well, where are we and what are we? And to connect that to Katie is that when some people were folding during COVID, she was actually emerging. And it was encouraging. It was encouraging because she was writing, directing, producing, and she got it funded. And so I wanted to be in that atmosphere. You know, just talking to her over the phone was her passion and drive. And, you know, the film was beautiful. So, yeah, that's something I wanted to be a part of and a contributor.
Thank you so much to Katie, Julia, Alan, and Derek for taking the time to speak with me. Rare Objects is in theaters and on demand now. You can open the Advocate channel on YouTube for more of my full interviews with the biggest names in Hollywood. I'm Tracy E. Gilchrist, and that's what's happening in entertainment.